Oh, that's it?
Yeah, apparently.
We're gonna move golfing to the last move up.
Okay.
Okay, Madam Clerk, also, I have a private attorney for Jason Keys, misdemeanor domestic.
Okay. Keys, Miss Taylor?
Yes, Jason Keys.
Thank you.
Got it.
When do you want the private attorney? After the move-ups or?
That's fine.
Yep, that'll work.
Oh, okay, we're gonna start off
They
with the
indicated that's what they want to do, so.
we're gonna start off with the Spanish.
Yeah.
We're starting with Spanish? Okay.
Starting with Spanish? Okay. Which ones are the Spanish?
The two on the top.
Oh,
George Garcia and
man, you guys. Ronaldo, Leon. Okay, so now I need to call the interpreter.
Okay. Your Honor, the first one on the Spanish interpreter, Garcia, bonded.
Good morning, Your Honor. This is Flavio Rodriguez, State Certified Court Interpreter, previously sworn in today.
Good morning. We have one IA, and he has the headphones on.
Rafi Kennedy Swanson on behalf of the Office of State Attorney.
Tisha follow with the Office of Public Defender.
Your Honor, is the defendant in court room 2 or 3?
2.
Thank you. Just 1 second. Your Honor, the defendant can hear me now.
All right, your name, sir?
Reinaldo León Mena. Reinaldo León Mena.
Reynaldo Leon Mena.
All right, sir, you're here today because you were arrested on a new charge of possession of cocaine, possession of drug paraphernalia. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. The bond in the possession of cocaine will be $1,000 and $100 on the possession of drug paraphernalia. We're already out on a possession of methamphetamine and possession of drug paraphernalia.
No action, Your Honor.
Okay, no, I'll take no action on that. I'll leave that the way it was, so that your ROR will remain on that other case. Okay. Good luck. That's it, huh? No more Spanish?
Your Honor, may the interpreter please request the case number?
What was that case number?
20 CF 4984.
Thank you.
And that's it. We only had one this morning. It's a miracle.
Thank you, Your Honor. Is that it for IAs?
That's it. We're all set. We're done. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Okay. Your name, sir?
Salah Hamlet.
Mr. Hamlet, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of incest, or they've levied charges. I think you were already in jail for incest and neglect of a child. I reviewed the charging affidavit. The bond on the incest is $1,000, and on the neglect of a child is $150. Thank you. Public defenders appointed.
We asked for no contact, Your Honor, with the.
No, yeah, Mr. Salah, if you do, well, he's being held in a second. He's not getting out, but no contact with the alleged victims in that case.
Okay.
Thank you. Your name, sir?
Kevin Henderson.
Mr. Henderson, you're here because you're arrested on the charge of possession of ammunition by a convicted felon. It looks like they've got, 7, 8, 9, 10 of those. I have, there's also a trafficking in methamphetamine with a weapon. How did that not make the charging affidavit?
He's only here on the 9 counts of the possession of ammunition by convicted felon. Yeah.
Okay, so the others, that's, or just the add-on, all right. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. You find that there's sufficient probable cause. As to the first count, their bond was $5,000. I'm going to lower the bond to that of $1,000, and then all of the rest of the bonds will be $100 on those. Okay, thank you. Well, defender appointed, if not previously. Your name, sir?
Shane Tyler Pittman.
All right, Mr. Pittman, you're here today because you were arrested on a battery charge which violated your pretrial release.
Yes, sir.
Bond is $1,000 on that revocation of the pretrial release, okay? Your name, sir?
Your case right here. State your name.
Sammy
Name, sir?
Melvin Smith.
All right, Mr. Smith, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of, or a warrant for the charge of exposure of sexual organs. Bond is $500.
$500. Yeah.
$500. Yep. Public defender will be appointed. Your name, ma'am?
Kayla Fields.
All right, Ms. Fields, you're here today because you're arrested on 2 new charges, one being a driving while license suspended. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. There is sufficient probable cause and imposed bond or set bond amount of $500. And second of all, possession of drug paraphernalia. I also reviewed that. There is sufficient probable cause set bond in the amount of $100.
Your Honor, say no objection, ROR.
All right, I'll ROR you on those 2. You were out on bond on a petty theft and on a possession of cocaine, possession of drug paraphernalia. And we'll take no action on those. So you'll be ROR'd on the new charges. On both?
Yes.
Yep, on both. Alrighty. ROR on both. You're set.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your name, sir?
Ernest.
What's your name?
Ernest.
State your full name.
Ernest Joseph Carpino.
Can anyone understand what he's saying?
Ernest Joseph. What's the last name? B?
Carpino.
Capino.
Oh. That's not the order that I have it.
His last name is Campbell.
I don't remember reading a Campbell. Ernest Campbell is your name? Is that right?
Yeah,
Capino.
Carpino.
I don't know. I'm glad it's not just me.
I'm gonna see if I see a name first.
Yeah, I'm just gonna look through each one. I don't have anything. That name doesn't.
To me, the plebis, Your Honor. He was a,
Carpino. Ernest Carpino.
Oh yeah, Ernest Carpenter.
The C?
Yes, with a C.
I see him, Carpino, Carpino. Existing officer without. Yeah. Maybe like 3 or 4 from the bottom.
I got it. Okay. All right, Mr. Carpino. You're here because you're arrested on a charge of resisting without violence. I do find sufficient probable cause set bond in the amount of $500.
State.
No bond.
May I have 1 second?
Just a second. We're going to see if they have an offer for it.
No, I'm not gonna make an offer. The fire.
Okay. All right. $500. Public defender will be appointed. Yeah, papers all over the place now. Or what were we doing? Wasn't there one that was a private attorney?
That's Mr. Clee.
Yeah. All right. What's your name, sir?
Jason Cleese.
Oh, here he is.
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Mr. Cleese. You're here today because you were arrested on a charge of domestic violence, battery, and resisting an officer without violence. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find that there is, based upon that, there is probable cause on the domestic violence, although I didn't see anything in the charging affidavit with the resisting. I don't know where that came from.
Yeah,
Objection to ROR.
All right. All right, so I'm going to ROR you on that. As to bond on the domestic violence, your attorney want to be heard?
Yes, Your Honor. State your name, sir.
Jason Cleese.
Does he have anywhere to go?
Yes, Your Honor. He resides with his family. This incident took place at the family residence. The alleged victim in this matter, they do not reside together. They do have a child in common, but the alleged victim does not reside with him. So we would request that Mr. Cleese be released back to the care and custody of his home address, which is, go ahead, what's your home address?
1945 Tindaro Drive.
And the alleged victim is no longer residing at that residence.
State would, does he qualify for PTR?
He does
No
qualify
objection
for
to
PTR.
PTR.
Okay. He
No
does.
objection to PTR, no contact with the victim, separate residences, no weapons, no firearms.
Okay. All right. I'll PTR you on this. You're not to have any contact with Kennedy at all. Okay. No contact whatsoever. No weapons, no guns, no firearms, no drugs, no alcohol, and you can return back to the home.
All right, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, that's PTR on count 1, ROR on count 2.
That's correct. Yeah, this is not the same person. Your name, ma'am?
Margarita Goffin.
On Ms. Goffin's case, the state would request that she be held at no bond. This is a punishable by life felony, burglary or battery with assault battery therein. Unbeknownst to Ms. Goffin, she has a case that she doesn't know about because we just filed it yesterday. It is a case that was sent to the clerk's office. It's a misdemeanor domestic violence battery that was filed yesterday with the same victim, Jonathan Goff, her husband. It has not been served on her yet, obviously, because we just filed the information yesterday and they would not have had time yet to serve her with it. Based on that incident happened in December of last year, and then we have this incident from April of this year. So we'd ask that she be held at no bond, no contact with the victim, maintain separate residences, no weapons, no firearms, no drugs, no alcohol.
Well, she probably won't have any of those things if she's no bond.
I understand, but in case she does get a bond, Your Honor, we still request.
And so, because this is just an arrest warrant that she was picked up on with a $10,000 bond, and you're asking that it be changed to no bond.
Yes, Your Honor. In light of the incident that we just filed information on yesterday, it came in as a non-arrest case.
And Your Honor, we asked for the bond to be set at $10,000 as it stated.
Do we have anything on that other case? I don't have anything to review, and so all I've got is this.
I can show, let's see if, literally it just shows that it was filed yesterday and I don't even see discovery uploaded into our system. I have the synopsis and I don't physically have the file with me.
What is the synopsis?
Synopsis says the victim, Jonathan Goff, were married and lived together on 12/5/19. Defendant and victim have been arguing on a phone all day. Victim stated he was fearful of her entering the apartment due to the context of their phone. He exited the building and approached, the defendant exited the building and approached the victim. She placed her hands around the victim's neck as if she was going to choke the victim. The victim broke free of defendant's grasp. Law enforcement officers heard several phone messages sent by the victim to the defendant where he was using vulgar words and was not coherent. The law enforcement believed the defendant may have been under the influence at the time of something. Defendant was at that time was Baker acted on scene, and this happened in Maitland.
All right. That was in December.
That was December the 5th.
That precedes us by a long time. I'm gonna leave the bond at $10,000. But if you do bond out, you're not to have any contact at all with your husband, and you're not to return to the address. Do we have the address? I don't. You're not to return to where your husband's residing. Do you live there with him?
Yes, I do, sir.
Okay, you can't go back there to live with him if you do bond out. You're not to have any drugs, alcohol, no weapons, no guns, and again, no contact at all with him. So if you bond out, you got to go somewhere else. You can go back to your place, to that home one time with law enforcement accompaniment
Can I?
so that
Okay.
you can get your personal items.
Okay.
All right. But you got another charge coming too, so be
What's
aware
the
of
other
that. Something
charge?
else is coming. Another domestic violence battery from that occurred in December of
But-
last year.
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Misdemeanor.
He dropped those charges. He didn't want to continue with
Well,
those charges.
The state indicates that they've been filed on, so they may have been dropped at the time. They can always bring them back as long as they follow the rules. So, all right, I'll put the bond's $10,000 with those conditions. All right, if you bond out. Thank
Okay.
you.
Yes, sir.
Your Honor, does she need to sign a no contact order?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Your name, sir?
Frederick Earl Holmes Jr., sir.
Mr. Holmes, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of false imprisonment and battery domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. This happened at a hotel, didn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We had come down.
Do you live with Ms. Powell?
I had sold my condo because we were going to move to China. She had a job teaching English and got a job for me. So we were staying in
Do
Atlanta.
you live with her? That's the
No,
question.
no, we don't live together.
All right. What address do you live at here? Do you have an address in Orlando?
I have a home of record that I use. That's my father's address, 1821 Pauline Drive in Lake Alfred, Florida. But we were down here temporarily helping our son. He got the coronavirus, so I volunteered to come down and help him. And then it got so bad, all the people dying, that we couldn't go back to our folks because they're old, and our brothers and sisters had kids, so we're just stuck kind of going hotel to hotel, and ended up really the hotels wouldn't let us stay there anymore because they had essential personnel rules. So we were stuck like in our vehicle for several days.
All right. I'll set bond the amount of $2,500 on the false imprisonment, $1,000 on the battery. No contact at all with Jennifer Powell if you do bond out. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, no guns. I guess you can go and live with your dad. Is that or somewhere? You're gonna have to find a place to live.
Yes, Your Honor. I'm a vet. I'm a Special Forces vet. I have 5 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. I think I'm going to go to the VA and seek some help.
Yeah, they probably can help you out.
Okay, can I get to a phone?
Your name, sir?
Lucius Alexander Levine.
Mr. Levine, you're here because you're arrested on 3 charges: battery by strangulation, domestic violence, false imprisonment, domestic violence, and tampering with a witness to hinder communication. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause. 5060 Long Road, is that your address?
5060?
Yeah.
No,
Where do you
529
live?
5292 Long Road, Apartment B.
And whose address is this 5060 Long Road? Is there anyone that,
I
or
don't know.
the officer just have it wrong?
I don't know whose address that is.
Okay, all right. And where does,
The victim may be in the box, Your Honor.
oh, is the victim there?
Yes, sir,
Alleged
Your
victim?
Honor. I'm here.
All right.
Did you say inquire?
Yeah.
You should be sworn in first.
Well, I assume. He's waving to somebody, so there must be somebody there. Who's in the box there?
My name is Ashanti Robinson, and I have my daughter with me.
Okay, raise your right hand. Solemnly swear testimony to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes?
Yes, sir.
All right. State's going to ask you some questions. Go ahead.
Are you afraid of the defendant, Miss Latice?
My name is Ashanti, but no, ma'am, I'm not afraid of him.
Would you like to have contact with the defendant if he is released?
Yes, ma'am. Only because we have kids together.
If something happened in the future, would you feel comfortable in calling the police or 911?
Yes, ma'am.
And do the two of you live together?
No, ma'am.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. No hostile?
So we'd ask for separate residence, though.
Yeah. All right, Mr. And you, Miss Robinson, you live not at the address where this occurred, is that right?
I live at the address that has occurred. Yes, sir. I live at 5060.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that. What?
She does live where it occurred.
Okay.
They don't live together.
All right. All right, Mr. Levine, I'll set bond in the amount of, on the battery strangulation, $500, the false imprisonment, $1,000, and the tampering, $100. Where are you going to go? Who do you live with?
Well, actually, I've been staying on the streets. You know what I'm saying? I don't really got nowhere to go, but that's my mama address that I use.
Okay. What's her address?
5292 Long Road, apartment B.
That's the address you gave me. Okay, so you can go there. No hostile contact with Ms. Robinson. And you guys can have contact, but not hostile. You can't raise your voice, can't do anything to her. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No guns, no weapons, no alcohol, no drugs.
Okay, yes, sir.
Your Honor, do you have the affidavit for the violation of probation?
No, I didn't have that. No, I see that it's on here, but I don't have an affidavit.
It was a technical, Your Honor.
So, wow, what's the state's position on that?
You know that no on here.
And was it actually was it an onsite or did he?
It's a
actually,
warrant.
Was there a BOP warrant out? Or
It's
was
a
a warrant? Okay. All right, and that was no bond on the warrant. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, there's also a violation of probation warrant, and there's no bond on that. So, public defender's been appointed in those cases. You have to get with your attorney to see if they can get a bond set on the BOP.
The arraignment date for this case is 4/27.
All right, April 27th. They'll have a chance to take a look at that. Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Your name, sir?
Jose Marshall.
All right, Mr. Marshall, you're here because you were picked up for capias for tampering of a witness. Just let's see, I don't understand. There's no affidavit? So was this from before that you failed to appear or something, or was this?
That's what I was trying to figure out when the sheriff came to my job, because I met with the sheriff April 18th. Yeah, April 18th, and he gave me my new court date for June 18th.
I see he was arrested in March on the case. We filed on it in April.
Because I mean, the paperwork shows there's a capias.
Oh, because count.
And it was still no bond, which means he hadn't ever, because there should have been a bond there if there's a capias.
So he was arrested on tampering and a domestic violence battery on March 16th. And then we have another charge from April the 8th of assault, DV assault. And then we dropped the DV assault and filed the tampering. So maybe that was confusion. Maybe that's why the capias was issued, because we filed different counts than he was arrested on. I don't know.
Well, I see part of the problem is that Mr. Levine's paperwork for the violation of probation was attached to that. So there's that. There's Levine's. Okay, here we go.
Mr.
But
Mark,
it doesn't change the capias because that is his.
we have no objection to PTR, Your Honor.
Okay,
I just would like to inquire.
sure. Is she there?
Yes, I hear the kid.
Oh, that's true. All right, who's in the box?
Christina Irizarry.
All right, raise your right hand. Solemnly swear testimony to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
All right, your name again?
Christina Irizarry.
All right, the state has some questions for you.
Are you afraid of Mr. Marshall?
No.
Would you like him to be allowed to live with you while this case is pending?
Yes.
Would you like him to be allowed to have contact with you while this case is pending?
Yes.
If something happened in the future, would you feel comfortable in calling the police or 911?
Yes.
And are you afraid that he will harm your child?
No.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to release you with PTR conditions. No drugs, no alcohol, no weapons, no firearms, and no hostile contact
Your
with
Honor.
the alleged victim. Yes?
There is an injunction with the same victim, 2020 DR 003014 on file.
So no objection to PTR, but to abide by conditions. So if there's no contact,
Yeah, so then you'll have but they can't live together then.
correct.
Do you guys both live in the same place, right? Before, is that right?
Yes. I have a question though.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go ahead.
so for that injunction for the court date for June, I have a choice to go ahead and dissolve it. So if I'm able to get a no hostile contact here, I'll go ahead and dissolve the other injunction.
no objection, abide by the conditions of the injunction. So if there is an injunction, then
Yeah. The conditions will be that you abide by those conditions, but if that gets dissolved, then it'll be no hostile contact. Okay.
Right, that's what I want.
But for right now, he's going to have another place to go. Where are you going to go live? Where can you go live, Mr. Marshall?
I've been staying with a friend for the past 3 months, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. So you need to go back there. You can go back to the house. Although you're not allowed to have any contact with law enforcement to get some personal items one time. Okay. The same conditions, PTR conditions will be there, and also no drugs or no alcohol, no weapons. Okay. All righty. Thank you. Your name, sir?
Ali Dean McCallum.
All right, sir. You're here today because you were arrested on charge of aggravated battery. I have reviewed the charging affidavit on that. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. Samantha Buford.
Yes.
Who is that to you? Is that just a friend?
No, that's my
girlfriend.
That's my girlfriend, sir.
Yeah.
And so we just got into a little simple argument. When the police came, they said they ain't have no choice.
Don't talk about what
okay,
happened.
okay.
You may hurt yourself. I've read the charging affidavit. The charging affidavit, based on what's there, I do find there's sufficient probable cause. Do you guys live together?
No, sir.
Okay. You have a place to go?
Yes, sir. She stay in Seminole County, and I stay in
Oh,
Eatonville.
perfect. All right, I'll set bond amount of $1,000. You're not to have any contact with her right now. Okay, no contact.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is there any way I can go to pre-trial release because my people don't have no money, sir?
You don't qualify according to the paperwork.
Yes, sir.
All right. No contact with her. No drugs, no alcohol, no guns, no weapons. Okay. Thank you.
My bond $100.
Your name, sir?
Dante Miller.
Mr. Miller, you're here today because you were arrested on 2 charges. One, tampering with the witness to hinder testimony and violation of a PTR condition in a domestic violence case. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. Is he in? Is he out on bond on another? I don't have paperwork on that.
This is an add-on charge.
So he just didn't get out on the other charge.
Right, he's in on the
Have him
second.
in the jail. All right, gotcha. All right, I'll set bond the amount of $1,000 on the tampering and state want to be heard on the violation. Okay, $1,000 on the violation of PTR condition, and then whatever the bond that was set and everything else. You still have I guess you haven't bonded out on the underlying charge before. So, all right, public defender be appointed. Your name, sir?
Carl Pollock.
Mr. Pollock, you're here today because you're arrested on the charge of tampering with the witness and battery domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavits. I do find sufficient probable cause on those. Set bond the amount of $1,000 on the tampering. And on the battery charge, do you have anywhere to go?
Yes, sir.
What's the 7638 Forest City Road address? Is that your address?
No, my address is 908 Emeralds Avenue.
Okay. And where does Miss Mitchell live?
Her address would be the 7638.
Okay. So you don't have any reason to go there then?
No, sir.
All right. Okay. All right. I'll set bond the amount of $500 on the domestic violence. You'd have no contact with her. Okay. No contact with Miss Mitchell.
Yes, ma'am. Sir.
No guns, no alcohol, no
Ain't no way
weapons or no drugs.
qualify for PTR?
What's that?
Ain't no way I qualify.
No, you don't.
All right.
Sorry. not according to this. Okay?
All right.
Good luck. Public defenders appointed. Your name, sir?
Cologne.
All right, Mr. Cologne, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery, domestic violence, and culpable negligence with personal injury. I've reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. Is there anyone there from the family? No?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. Cologne, do you have somewhere to go live other than the where this occurred?
Yes. With my aunt.
Okay.
That's all right.
All right. I'm going to release you with PTR conditions. You're not to have any contact with, at this point, I guess it's Alanis and with Edwin Escalante. Okay. No contact at all. If you need to go back to that address to get any of your personal items, you can go one time with law enforcement. All right. And no weapons, no guns, no alcohol, no drugs.
Yes,
all right. PTR conditions on both. Your name, sir?
Can I say something right before we get started? Edward Easley?
All right, Mr. Easley, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery, domestic violence. I've read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. What is it that you wanted to say?
I'm sorry. Oh,
Go ahead.
I wanted to say that I've never been in trouble with the law before, ever. So this is my first time ever, being in trouble with the law.
Your Honor, he does qualify for PTR.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And also,
what's that?
And also, I need to go back to the house there because we own the property and everything. Me and my wife are going through a divorce right now. And I need to go back there because I have an online business to get my computer and my car so I can continue to make money to send her money to pay for her house and everything because I don't want the house to go into foreclosure, for us to lose the house or whatever because she can't afford to pay it by herself. I need to, to get my computer so I can,
Can you have a one-time return, Your Honor?
You can go. All right, Mr. Easley, I will release you with PTR conditions. You're not to have any contact with Miss Jennifer Spinelli. You can't reside at the Bristol-Cone court address, but I'll allow you to go back there with law enforcement one time to get your personal items.
Thanks.
That means stuff that you need, not like TVs or furniture or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, would you have to go with law enforcement? And there's no contact at all with Miss Spinelli at any other times. No guns, no alcohol, no weapons, no drugs. Okay.
How do I arrange that? How's that arranged?
Call the sheriff's office and let them know that you need someone, and they'll someone else to meet with you,
Okay.
and go with you there.
Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Your name, sir?
Steven
Last name?
Herrera.
Okay, sir, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery, domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find there's sufficient probable cause. The address that this allegedly occurred at, the Clarkona Road, is that your address?
Yeah.
And where does Catalina Jimenez live?
3 Sandpiper. Yeah, but she lives with me.
She doesn't live at that address, is that right? She doesn't live at the Clarkona Road address?
No, she does. But
Okay, where are you going to go if you get out? You can't go back and live at that same address with her on the short term.
to be honest, I don't know, officer. I got nobody here.
We're going to have to find somewhere else. Okay.
Yeah.
I will set a bond amount of $500, but you're not to return to that address.
Your Honor, he qualifies for PTR.
No, he doesn't.
The victim is here.
She is?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Raise your right hand. Solemnly swear testimony to give you the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, sir.
Your name?
Carolina Mota Jimenez.
Okay. Do you have questions for?
Yes. Are you afraid of the defendant?
No.
Would you like to have contact with him while this case is pending?
Yes.
Would you like for him to be allowed to live with you while this case is pending?
Yes.
If something happened in the future, would you feel comfortable in calling the police or 911?
Yes.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Okay. Why doesn't he qualify for PTR? It doesn't show that he has any record at all.
He qualifies for PTR. It was updated.
Okay. All right. I didn't get the update. I guess it's not important. The judge get the update. All right. You do qualify for PTR, Mr. Herrera. I'm going to release you with PTR conditions. You can return back to the home based upon what what Catalina said, but you're not to have any hostile contact with her. That means you can't raise your voice, you can't raise your hand, nothing. All right. If it's hostile at all, you're done. All right. No guns, no weapons, no alcohol, no drugs. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Good luck. He's appointed. Your name, ma'am?
Melanie Lee Matisse.
All right, ma'am, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of battery, domestic violence. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause. Calibre Bend, is that your address?
Yes.
And where does Mr. Benchamal live?
He lives there as well.
All right, and he's there now.
Yes.
Where can you go to live if you bond out?
I don't think I have anywhere to go.
You're gonna have somewhere else other than that.
We have 2 small children. I have a 3-week-old that I'm currently breastfeeding. I don't know if that makes a difference.
Well, it makes a difference as to what kind of contact you can have with the child, but it doesn't make a difference with the alleged victim.
State no objection to separate residences. Whoever can stay at the house if he has a place to go, or she does. Obviously, not ordering him.
Right. What can there's nothing I can do.
But they must maintain separate residences.
Yeah.
State has no objection to no hostile contact via text message only to arrange, obviously, providing milk for that child.
He's not there, obviously. He didn't come to court today.
I thought someone said he could be on a phone call for this hearing. That's what somebody had told me.
He does say he's refusing to prosecute and will not testify. And she also doesn't qualify, or has that been updated?
It has been updated. She does qualify.
I'll tell you, Your Honor.
You know, I finally start reading those things. Maybe I'm going to stop reading them now. It doesn't seem like, all right. So, all right, I'm going to release you with PTR conditions. So no alcohol, no drugs, no guns or weapons. You are required to have separate residences, okay? At least on the short term. Now, if he will contact the state or I'm going to appoint a public defender, and then the judge can make that no hostile contact. Because he's not here, I can't do that yet. The judge has to hear from him, okay? But I will allow you to have, so it's no contact, except you can text or call him one time to try to organize him maybe moving out and letting you come in. If he has a friend he can go stay with. Until the judge allows you guys to be in the same residence. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Good luck.
Thank you.
Your name, sir?
Gerald P.S., sir.
Mr. Pierre, you're here today because you're arrested on 2 charges, one being domestic violence battery and the other trespass after warning. I have reviewed the charging affidavit and I do find sufficient probable cause. I guess that this is the Brookswood address is not your address. Is that right?
No, sir.
So you do have another place to live?
Yes, sir.
All right. I will set bond in the domestic violence at 500, trespass be 100. You're not to have any contact with Melissa Upstraw. You're not to return to 5436 Brookswood Way. So you got a trespass warning there, and now you also got the order of the court not to go there. Okay?
Yes,
That's
sir.
a condition of your bond.
Okay.
All right? And no guns, no weapons, no alcohol, no drugs.
Okay.
And I will leave your bond in place on the possession of a controlled substance that you already got. All right, so that bond stays there, so you don't worry about that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All right. Your name, sir?
Herbert Woodard Jr.
All right, Mr. Woodard, you're here today because you were arrested on. Let me get this. A domestic violence battery charge.
Yes, sir.
I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find there's sufficient probable cause. And you do qualify for PTR, apparently. That's been updated. So I will release you with PTR conditions, but where are you going to go? Is the Lee Road address? Is that also where Letitia Johnson is?
That's where she was.
So she's not living there?
No, sir.
Okay. You can't live with her. You're not to have any contact with her. All right. So if she is there, you can't go there.
Yes, sir.
All right. But no contact with Alicia Johnson and then all the other PTR conditions. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Alrighty. Now we're gonna fly. Your name, sir?
Juan Cardenas.
Mr. Cardenas, you're here today because you're arrested on charge of burglary of a conveyance with an assault or battery and false imprisonment. I have reviewed the charging affidavit and I do find sufficient probable cause. I'm going to be heard as a bond on the.
Your Honor, we believe.
Your Honor, I was trying to attempt. I apologize.
Hold on.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, say.
Your Honor, this is a punishable life felony. We request the defendant be held at no bond. Looking at the affidavit by Mark Levy. Your Honor, he also is out on bond on 2020 MM 2341. I believe that victim is an ex-girlfriend, whereas this victim, I believe, is a current girlfriend. The defense and I have spoken about this case previously. If Your Honor is not inclined to keep him at no bond on this case, we will ask for the bond to be revoked on the out on bond case and he be held at no bond.
Okay.
And Your Honor, we asked for the court to set bond. In the affidavit, there were 3 witnesses that described what occurred, and none of them stated that they saw the defendant reach into the vehicle. Also, the officer reviewed the video footage and described what was on the video footage and did not state that the defendant reached into the vehicle.
There was.
I was attempting to serve an injunction, Your Honor, from the courthouse. This is where it took place.
Your Honor, I advise him not to speak on the facts of the case.
You don't say things because you could hurt yourself. Well, she indicates that's what happened, and there's some physical evidence of it. And really, again, I'm going to revoke the bond on the other case. So it's really sort of not important. I'm going to, because of the argument of the state, I'm going to keep the burglary of a conveyance at no bond at this point. Set a bond on the false imprisonment in the amount of $1,000. You're out on bond on a battery, domestic violence, and revoke that bond. There'll be no bond on that. Okay, public defender will be appointed on all the new cases.
Just for no contact.
And no contact with.
But Your Honor, I already have current injunctions against these people. If you look at the.
Well, with that argument, you could get an injunction against somebody and go take a gun and put it in their face and kill them. And it's like, well, I got an injunction against them, so I can't commit a crime against them.
I was waiting for the police to show up.
It's separate things. Well, then that's what you probably should have done, apparently. You probably should have just said, you know what, when they come, we'll deal with this. And if she drives away, instead of standing in front of her car and blocking her and keeping her from leaving, that's not legal. You can't just go up to somebody on the street and stop them from leaving when they have the absolute right to drive away.
I'm not going to elaborate on that, Your Honor, but that's not exactly how it took place.
Because for sure, that's what the witnesses saw.
And I have witnesses.
And your parent, and you brought your parents into it too, which is crazy to me.
We were at the courthouse.
We're set. I'll appoint a public defender to represent you.
So there's no way I can get bond on the other?
No. Not right now. You'll have a public defender. They can do what they can do. Your name, sir?
Willie Joseph Carr.
Mr. Carr, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of burglary of a conveyance and resisting an officer without violence. I do find sufficient probable cause. Set bond amount of, okay, that's what I was going to reduce that. $1,500 on count 1. I'm going to lower that from $35, and it'll be $100 on the resisting without violence. All right, public defender will be appointed.
Yes, sir.
Your name, sir?
Dominic Crespo.
Mr. Crespo, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of driving while license suspended as an habitual traffic offender. I do find sufficient probable cause for that. And we'll set bond in the amount of $2,500.
Your Honor, state requests a $5,000 bond onto the driving and then no objection to the subsidiary bond onto the fleeing of $150 $150, and no objection, no action on the out on bond, but to stress to the defendant that he should not be driving without a valid license.
Your Honor, we just ask for the court to stay the bond on the driving while license revoked.
That's right, I forgot the fleeing case. So the state wants 5,000 on the driving and then the fleeing?
You can do it 5,000 on the.
Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. All right, I'll set bond amount of $5,000 on the fleeing, and then it'll be 500 on the driving license suspended. And you don't have any, you don't want to, he's out on bond on 1, 2, 3, 4 cases.
Yes, Your Honor.
No action on those. State's not asking for action, so those bonds will remain in place. Okay, public defender be appointed.
Thank you very much, Your Honor.
Don't thank me, thank the state on that one, because he was going nowhere if it was for me. Your name, sir?
Charles Dodd, Your Honor.
Mr. Dodd, you're here today because you were arrested on charge of attempted burglary conveyance. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. Set bond amount of $1,500. All right, I'll reduce the bond to $1,500. Was $5,000. Public defender will be appointed.
For no return, Your Honor.
Yeah, no return to where this allegedly occurred, which would be the 8300 Jamaican Court address. Can't go back there. All right.
Oh, understood.
Okay.
Watch your step.
Your name, ma'am?
Shantia Doherty.
Ms. Doherty, you're here because you're arrested on a charge of armed robbery with a weapon and on an arrest warrant, and the bond on that is $10,000. Public defender will be appointed.
Okay.
All righty, thank you. Your name, sir?
Christopher Geiger.
Sir, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, or with a firearm, excuse me. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. State want to be heard?
Hang on 1 second, Your Honor.
Sure.
Your Honor, state would ask for a $5,000 bond, no contact with the victim, no return, no weapons, no firearms. If he does have any firearms, to surrender them to law enforcement within 6 hours of his release.
Okay. All right. At the state's request, I am going to set a bond amount of $5,000. So there's a bond on the charge. You're not to return to the 18733 Vermont Street. Not to go back to that. I know it's not your address when reading this, but you're not to go back there. You're not to have any contact whatsoever
That's my house, Your
with
Honor.
Sonia Wardlow or with Brandon McMillan or any of the other witnesses.
Your Honor, 18733 Vermont is my house. I am the homeowner.
I have a witness as well as Haley Geiger.
Yeah.
That's my wife.
Yeah. All right. No contact with the other witnesses.
Yes, sir.
Or the alleged victim. He can go back there. The firearm, if you have any firearm, you're not to have while on bond. If you bond out, no firearms or weapons. If you do have a firearm, when you get home, it needs to be surrendered within 6 hours. You can call law enforcement and surrender that to them. Okay.
They took my only firearm, sir.
I expect they took that one, but I'm saying if you have any others.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Your name, sir?
My name is Shaka Gibson.
All right, Mr. Gibson, you're here today because you were picked up on an arrest warrant for 2 charges. One, shooting from a vehicle, bond set amount of $5,000, and the other was attempted first-degree murder with a firearm. There is no bond on that. A public defender will be appointed.
And for no contact with the victim.
And no contact. Oh, no contact with the victim. Yes, sir. All right. Your name, sir?
Under Ramon Jenkins.
Ms. Jenkins, you're here today because you were arrested on charge of driving while license suspended as an habitual traffic offender. I do find sufficient probable cause. Set bond in the amount of $1,000.
No action.
And on the 2 bonds you're out on the petty thefts, I'll take no action on those, so the bonds will remain in place.
Thank you.
Your name, ma'am?
Krista Johnson.
All right, ma'am, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge, several charges: aggravated battery with a firearm while wearing a mask, aggravated assault with a firearm while wearing a mask, and use of a firearm or weapon in commission of a felony. When did this, a mask, isn't that just good
It was a corona.
hygiene now?
Yes, that's what it was, sir.
It's
State will request a $7,500 bond on count 1, $1,500 bond on count 2, $150 on count 3. No contact with the victims, no weapons, no firearms.
Okay. All right, so at the state's request, I will set bond on count 1, aggravated battery with a firearm, $7,500. Count 2, ag assault with a firearm, $1,500. And then finally, $150 on the use of the firearm. You're not to have any contact at all with the alleged victim or the witnesses in this case. And that would be Heather Galen and Jennifer Wilcox. No guns, no alcohol, no drugs, no weapons of any type. Okay?
So I can get
And
my
as to the bonds, no action? He's out on bond? All right. And we'll leave the other bonds in place, so you don't have to worry about those, okay?
Thank you, sir.
All righty.
Have a good day.
Your name, sir?
Tyrese Marshall, sir.
Did Berlin Knowles bond out?
Yes, he bonded.
All righty. All right, Mr. Marshall, you're here because you were arrested on a charge of grand theft, 3rd degree of a firearm. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. Bond set in the amount of $1,000. He does? No, he doesn't qualify. All right. $1,000, unless it's been updated. All right. Bond set in the amount of $1,000.
There's no action on the out on bond.
And we'll take no action on the case that you're out on bond on.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
All righty. Thank the state. Very generous today. Be a lot more people in jail. Your name, sir?
Samuel Rodriguez Medina, sir.
Mr. McCreary bond out?
Yes, Your Honor, he bonded.
All righty. Mr. Rodriguez Medina, you're here today because you're arrested on several charges: possession of heroin with intent to sell or deliver, sale and delivery of heroin, possession of cocaine with intent, attempted sale and delivery of cocaine, possession of cannabis less than 20 grams. I reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause to set bond amount of $15,000 to stay that bond, the possession of heroin with intent, and to be $150 on each of the other counts. And appoint a public defender to represent you.
Yes, sir. I have a question, sir.
Yep. Go ahead.
At first, they told me my bond was gonna be a total of $8,000 and some dollars, and out of nowhere it went up to $15,000. May I ask why?
Well, I don't know how. I don't know, but it was $15,000 from the start. That's what's on the charging affidavits. That's what the officer went off the bond schedule. So it's bond schedule. Okay.
All right, thank you, sir.
All right. Good luck. Your name, sir?
Brandon Scott Schifrin.
Mr. Schifrin, you're here today because you were charged with arrested and charged with possession of fentanyl. I do find sufficient probable cause, set bond amount of $1,000, and then also you had a DUI charge. I did read the charging affidavit and found thinly sufficient probable cause, but I will set bond the amount of $500 on the DUI. You're not to operate a motor vehicle without a valid driver's license if you do bond out. Okay?
Thank you.
Public defender be appointed. Your name, sir?
Samuel Vieira Cruz.
Mr. Veracruz, you're here today because you're arrested on 2 charges: possession of fentanyl and possession of cocaine. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do find sufficient probable cause. He qualifies.
He does qualify, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to release you with pretrial release conditions. All right. And so when you're out, you're not to have any drugs or alcohol, no guns or weapons. All righty.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Your name, sir?
Asa Welch.
All All right, Mr. Welch, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of grand theft third degree and battery. I have reviewed the charging affidavit, and I do see that there's sufficient probable cause. I'll set bond in the amount of $1,000 in the grand theft, $500 on the battery.
No contact with the victim.
And you're not to have any contact with the alleged victim, Autumn Tyson. All right, no contact with Ms. Tyson. All right?
Okay.
Good luck. Your name, sir?
Senor Abatso, sir.
All right, sir, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of driving under the influence. I have read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. Imposed bond or set bond in the amount of $500.
He does
If you do bond
qualify for
out, you're not to
PTR.
operate a motor vehicle without a valid
Your
Florida
Honor, he
driver.
qualifies for PTR.
Oh. No. All right, hold on a second. You do qualify for PTR, so I'll release you with pretrial release conditions instead. It won't be a monetary bond. Won't be required, okay?
Thank you,
All
Your
right.
Honor.
Your Honor, next on the
That's
list is Boyd. Boyd refused court.
Refused?
Yes, sir. He refused.
All right.
We asked for him to waive his defense to waive his appearance. The bond set as is.
Yeah, it's a failure to appear bond anyway, so.
Hold on.
So we're good to go. Set at 2,500. Okay? Yeah, waive his appearance, right?
Your Honor, defendant,
He waived.
defense waived his appearance.
All righty, thank you. Your name, sir?
Justin Martin.
All right, Mr. Martin, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of driving under the influence.
Yes, sir.
I've read the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause, set bonds.
He does qualify for PTR.
Oh, I missed that one. You do qualify for PTR, so I'll release you with pretrial release conditions. Don't operate a motor vehicle without a valid Florida driver's license. All right? You're on.
Okay. Thank you. Step up, Mark.
Your name, sir?
William Martin.
All right, what is this? Okay, Mr. Martin, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of driving under the influence. I do find that there's sufficient probable cause. It does.
I don't know if he qualifies. He wasn't interviewed.
Does he qualify? Did that get updated?
He was not interviewed. Did you want to court order him to PTR?
Okay, I'll order that you. Well, that's what I'll do. If he doesn't qualify, just in case, I'll order you to PTR for pretrial release. Okay, no non-monetary bond or $500 bond if you don't qualify. If they, for whatever reason, something happens. So it's either or. Okay.
Okay.
And don't operate a motor vehicle without a valid Florida driver's license. Okay.
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 Thank you.
Your name, ma'am?
Maria Acosta.
All right, Ms. Acosta, you're here because you're arrested on a charge of trespass on property after warning. This one's pleable. Does you want to plea?
Full credit for time served, no return.
If you want to enter a plea this morning to this, it'd be a withhold of adjudication, credit for the time you served, and no return to that hotel. Do you want to resolve it?
What does that mean? Can you explain?
Sure. If you enter a plea of no contest or guilty to this, the state's going to recommend that I sentence you to the time you've served, meaning you'd be released today, okay? And there'd be a withhold, so you won't have a conviction. It'll just be court costs. And I'll give you a year to pay it.
Okay.
Is that what you want to do?
What's the other option?
The other option is I'll set bond in the amount of $500, and you'll see if you can bond out. Or you'll be sitting in jail. My guess is probably until June, because we're not really doing a lot of face-to-face stuff. But that's up to you.
I guess
Or you get out today.
I'll get out today. I don't want to be
Well,
here till
no, I'm not trying to force you to plea. All right, I'll set bond in the amount of $500. Next.
Okay. Take your pay. $500 bond.
I thought I was getting out today.
Do you qualify?
I was going to get out today.
All right. Your name, sir?
Jose Caraballo.
Mr. Caraballo, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of trespass after warning and battery. I have reviewed the charging affidavit. I do find sufficient probable cause. Set bond the amount of $500 as to the trespass and $100 on the battery.
No contact with the victim.
And if you do bond out, you're not to have any contact with Mr. Armando Gallegos. Okay? Don't go back to that carport or garage or whatever it was. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Your name, sir?
Ryan Duncan.
All right, sir, you're here today because you were arrested on a charge of resisting an officer without violence and possession of drug paraphernalia. I do find sufficient probable cause. I'm going to set bond amount of $500 on the resisting, $100 on the possession of drug paraphernalia.
Wrong person.
And we'll leave
This
the
is
bond
Duncan,
in
Your
place
Honor.
on your dwell list.
Oh,
So
his
I'm
last
not
name
going to
is
revoke that
Duncan.
one. What's that?
Oh, his last name is Duncan.
Oh, I thought it was Pfeiffer. What happened
No.
with Justin Pfeiffer? Did he bond out?
Behavior, Your Honor. Behavior.
Defense waived appearance.
All right. Defense waived his appearance on that. I'll set bond on that case in the amount of the 500, 100.
You said no action on his out-on bond?
And no action on the out of bond. Yeah. By the way, he didn't want to come because he was afraid. All right, Mr. Duncan. Here we go. Mr. Duncan, you're here because you're arrested on a warrant out of a violation of probation warrant. Out of what county? Sarasota County. There is no bond on that. I will tell you that we'll be contacting Sarasota County to see if they want us to set a bond, and if they do, or we bring everyone back regardless to tell them what they said. Okay, we'll be bringing you back at some. Once we hear from Sarasota County, from the judge down there, we'll bring you back and tell you what they said. Either they set a bond for you and you can bond out, or it'll remain no bond until they can come and get you. Okay. All righty.
Your Honor, can you appoint the PD?
I'll appoint the public defender. I'm not sure that I have the ability, but we discussed that the other day. So. All righty. Your name, sir?
Walter Knight.
All right, Mr. Knight, you're here because you're arrested on a warrant that is out of, what county is this? Polk County. There is no bond on that, same as I told the last gentleman. We will contact Polk County and see if they want to set a bond in the case. If they do, we'll do that for them, but we'll bring you back to let you know what they said, whether no, keep it no bond, or set a bond, okay?
Yes, sir.
We'll bring you back. Might take a couple days. Your name, ma'am?
Sierra Sherman.
Ms. Sherman, you're here because you're arrested on an out-of-county warrant. And we will be contacting that county to see. Currently, there is no bond on that warrant. And we'll bring you back to let you know. Now, she is out on bond here on a driving license suspended. No action. I'm going to leave that bond that you're out on in Orange County in place. But we will bring you back to let you know what the other county said as far as the no bond on your other case, all right? Your name, sir?
Eddie King.
Mr. King, you're here today because you're arrested on a violation of probation warrant from Judge Davis or Wilson, and there is no bond on that.
Okay.
All right.
Well, what?
Your name, sir?
Good evening, Your Honor. Trevon Mowat.
All right, Mr. Mowat, you're here today because you're arrested on a violation of probation warrant. There is no bond on that, and that public defender will be appointed.
Yes.
Oh, does he? Hold on, Mr. Mowat, hold on. You got another case. Is that the impersonating?
Yes.
You also were arrested on a fraud or impersonating a fictitious or basically identity theft and resisting an officer without violence. I've read the charging affidavit. I'll set bond amount of $1,000 on the identity theft and $100 on the resisting without violence. Okay?
Yeah.
So you got bonds on those, but no bond on the violation.
He also has an immigration hold, Your Honor.
All right, and there's an immigration hold as well.
What does that mean?
I got two people and one piece of paper.
Okay.
Is that what you have? One left? No, we got someone else there. Your name, sir?
Carl Wilson.
All right, Mr. Wilson, you're here today because you're arrested on a charge of soliciting without a permit.
Yes, sir.
I've read the charging affidavit. You find that there is sufficient probable cause. Is this one pleadable?
Yes, sir.
If you want to plead to it, it's time served.
Yes, sir.
You want to do that? You want to enter a plea of no contest then?
Yes, sir.
All right, are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol today?
No.
Have you suffered from or been treated for any mental illness in the past?
I have a mental illness, schizophrenia. They diagnosed me with that when I was younger.
All right, are you on any medication today?
No, not right now.
Do you understand what this charge is about and what's happening here today?
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
All right. Do you have a plea form there? They're going to give you a plea form?
No.
All right. You understand you have the right to have a trial on this case. You have a right to have witnesses brought to your defense. You have a right to have an attorney to represent you. You have a right to require the state to prove the case beyond a reasonable doubt. And you have the right to question the witnesses that we brought against you.
Yes, sir.
You understand you're giving up all those rights?
Yes, sir.
By entering a plea of no contest. All right. You also understand this is punishable by a maximum of 60 days in jail, up to a $500 fine, and that the entry of your plea might result in deportation if you're not a citizen.
Yes, sir.
All right. I do find sufficient factual basis. I'll accept your plea. I'll withhold adjudication, sentence you to time served. It'll be court costs and the $50 cost of prosecution reduced to civil judgment.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
You're all set.
Okay.
I don't know who this last fella is. Come on up, sir. Your name?
Thomas Carlin.
Oh, here it is. All right, Mr. Carlin, you're here because we did contact Judge Perkins in Volusia County, and they said they didn't want to change that, so the Volusia warrant will remain as a no bond, and they'll eventually, hopefully, come and pick you up and bring you over there. All righty, thank you. Wasn't there supposed to be? Wasn't Invictus Soul something supposed to be added on today?
Yes.
I don't have anything on it. There was supposed to be an add-on they wanted to take PTR off because apparently he's being extradited or something.